Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very proud to bring you another game from our Cast It. Spawning in the lower right-hand position on the Shakuras Plateau, we have our Red Zerg player, Prada. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of the very same map, in fact, is our blue Terran player, Fluffyjr. Looks like Fluffyjr has kind of an interesting symbol on the side of his command center here. Probably played quite a few games. This, again, another game from our Cast It. It was marked as a Masters League game, so a little bit higher skill level than we're used to seeing in some of my casts, so I'm pretty excited about this one. TVZ on Shakuras Plateau really revolves around who can get and hold their third base, at least after the early game. If the Zerg player can establish a third base location, they'll be in good shape. Now, Terran tends to have a few more options. If your opponent's going for a Mutalisk style, you'll tend to want this base off in front of your main as that third base location. Just as it condenses your area that you have to travel, and it'll allow your Marines a little bit more space to fight with Mutalisks, whereas trying to run all the way from here to prevent Mutalisks attacking this third base can be a little bit insane at times. But we do see no shenanigans so far from either player. Fluffyjr building the barracks at the top of his ramp to finish off the wall off. It looks like Prada scouting, but just going to go for the 15 hatch after checking this back corner for any bunkers or such. I do like this placement of the Overlord. Some players will skip this, but this is a very important Overlord. Send your second Overlord down to your expansion, as you'll be able to immediately tell if something's going up. You'll be able to spot the bunkers, spot anything else. The scout drone's going to get in here and spot not a whole lot of interest. Actually, it looks like he only wants to see the position. Checking to see where that SCV is going, poked back up, and saw the SCV in place to build a supply depot. So he knows he's walled out now, and he just wants to check and make sure this SCV is not going to be making any bunkers. This does seem more like a scout timing than a bunker rush timing for Fluffyjr. The Overlord's already spotted him, and he'll notice him going up into the main. So nothing too out of the ordinary. We do see the gas taken, and a factory going down for Fluffyjr. So if he gets the second gas here very quickly, we could see some Banshees. This could also just be some sort of early tanks or reactor to Hellion build. We'll see what happens when he gets to the 50 gas. There's the 52, there's the reactor. So very standard Fluffyjr going for reactor to Hellions. It's plain as can be, whereas Prada still about to make his first batch of circling. 6 is a little bit more than you usually see. Usually you'll only see 4, but perhaps being a little bit cautious. 2 queens as well will help him start spreading the creep, and these Zerglings will chase off this SCV, make sure nothing happens too funny. And we're just going to move into sort of macro phase, and we'll see how well Prada can deal with a couple of Hellions. We'll also see how many Fluffyjr wants to make. Could only make 2, could go for as many as 6 or 8 and try and do a lot of damage. We do see the Zerglings moving out across the map. These Marines will be able to chase them away, and at least deter them from getting any information beyond is there a third base. Actually going to run up this ramp, he'll be able to take out 1 Marine, maybe even both of them, and only losing 2 Zerglings for it. We do see the supply depot up for Fluffyjr, and the Hellions will be able to come out and clean this up after taking a little bit of damage. But this very valuable scouting information gained by Prada, I believe he was even able, yeah, he did see the command center as well. So very valuable. Taking out 2 Marines for 6 Zerglings, not the worst trade in the world. But is going to get those roasted by the Hellions. What do we have to defend at the front? We do have 1 Spine Crawler almost done, another one on the way. So Prada will be in good position to deal with this. Even already extending some of the creep. If he can get it down past the ramp, these Hellions will be able to do even less. As another thing they're good for, they get the map control a little bit early, and you're able to control the creep spread. We do see 2 more Hellions incoming to bring the total to 4. And all these can do, they're not going to be able to push up. They'll just be able to sit down here and kind of try to control this creep spread. We'll see if this one will be able to finish. Creep tuber under fire. It goes down. So good job by Prada, even this extended creep spread. You don't want to be on it because these Zerglings are still faster than Hellions on top of creep, trying to run by, but he does see the spine crawlers. You'll have to back off. And actually scanning to take out the creep tumor is kind of an interesting choice, and you'll be able to get this one on the top of the ramp too. So Fluffyjr just doing what he can to control the creep spread. We do see this orbital command finished. He has dropped a mule from it, not producing any FTVs right now. And he'll float it down to the natural. We don't see any defense here. There comes the bunker. And just moving into good old marine tank, 3 barracks and a factory. Standard as can be so far from Fluffyjr. Prada, meanwhile, this is a pretty quick layer, 7.5 minutes, unable to expand because of those Hellions on the doorstep, controlling the space, and doesn't want to just lose a lot of links to that. So we'll see what he has to do in terms of gas, taking his second gas geyser now, but numbers 3 and 4 still remain uncapped. And a couple more Zerglings coming out. Perhaps just a little leery that his opponent's making a couple more Hellions, and he'll try and run by his 2 spines at the front. We do see the Queen placing down another creep tumor, try and get everything back out of the base. And again, gases number 3 and 4 taken by Prada. So we'll probably see him start stocking up gas here for the Mutalisk transition. Actually going for a Baneling nest first. And poking down the ramp with these Zerglings, not the best idea. Getting a couple of them roasted for free, essentially. And Fluffyjr doing a good job still controlling space. And the creep tumor does finish. So maybe a little bit of a victory there for Prada. Still all 4 Hellions left alive. And really, what damage has Prada been able to do? We do see the units lost tab in favor heavily of our Terran player. Back home, the Terran player macroing up, getting up the siege tech, getting up the concussive shell. He's already got stim, and usually when you get stim first, you're looking to put on a little bit of early pressure. And we'll probably see just a very common 3 tank follow-up to this. It's a really deadly push against Zerg players, especially if you've been doing as much as he has with these 4 Hellions. And these have proved to be a really good harassment. They've already traded pretty favorably. We see 8, 7, 5, and 4 kills on them. And here comes the Terran army. Getting that 3rd siege tank will trigger the move out. And there's not a whole lot here to stop him. Prada trying to spread this creep out, but he still hasn't been able to deal with these Hellions. We do see 20 more lings on the way, and the Spire about halfway done. And Prada just looks like he's in a lot of trouble. Here come all the lings, but he is going to run into the Marines and siege tanks, and now he knows exactly what's headed for him. And the Terran will siege up down just out of range of the creep. We might see a scan to try and get rid of some of this creep. But really, he's got the Zerg player contained. He is floating a lot of resources. He'll be able to make a couple of Banelings, as well as a lot of Mutalisks as soon as that Spire finishes. So if he can use these spine crawlers just buy him a lot of time, he should be okay. Now all the creeps on him start to recede up into the base, and I imagine we'll see Fluffyjr just move the tanks a little bit forward and start shelling some of the stuff in the expansion. If he's a little bit more hesitant, though, he could be in trouble. We do see 5 Mutalisks in production. It's probably limited by the amount of larvae he has. The macro hatch down will help for Prada. He's also got 3 queens. And +1 melee attacks coming in. Here come 8 Mutalisks now instead of the 5. Back home, Prada just macroing up another set of Marines and siege tanks on the way, and just poking around, checking for the 3rd base. He is going to lose that Hellion for free. Not the worst loss in the world, but now we do see this basically a hard contain. 4 siege tanks here and a lot of Marines, all split pretty well. And there's not a huge entrance for the Mutalisks. He might use them just to try and pick off some of these reinforcements. But he's also doing a good job keeping a lot of Marines with his siege tank reinforcements. And the Marines baiting him in. He does lose 2 Mutalisks there, but that'll trigger the move down the ramp. Here come the Lings and Banelings. The Banelings get pretty good hits, but there's still a lot left alive. And Fluffyjr taking a 30 supply lead. But again, he's got a lot of Lings and Mutas still back in his base. And he's not horribly bad off. As soon as he is able to break this contain, if he is, he'll be in a great position to take a 3rd and a 4th base. And picks off the Hellion, loses another Mutalisk for it there. That's not a very good trade. And just trying to find some sort of weakness where he can get these Mutalisks in. I would like to see some more Banelings. Here they come. So he's planning some more aggression, using the medevac to spot. Very nice from Fluffyjr. This one tank going to move up. A little bit in range, and he's getting the spot from the medevac. So now, no more spine crawlers. He can move up this ramp pretty freely. Just the Lings and Banelings gathered back here. The only defense now left for Prada. There's a couple of Mutalisks trying to do what they can, but there's not a whole lot for them to do. Siege tanks now moving in, and these have a lot of range. Here comes the move out, though. Lings and Banelings headed down the ramp. They take out a couple of siege tanks. Banelings detonating, and the Marines try and stim and spread. These very nice spreads by Fluffyjr. The tank's still alive, but they don't have the vision now. Trying to move in, and this Queen's going to go down as well as a few Overlords. Not the this probably won't supply block him, is so far under the cap anyway. But now Marines up into the expansion and let the shelling commence. So Fluffyjr now just pushing up the ramp very simply. Here come the Zerglings, able to take out the Marines on the high ground. Is there enough left? Only 3 Mutalisks left for Prada, and here come more Zerglings.